So, if you are a fearful avoidant attachment style, or if you ever dated one, you know that they can be hot and cold, on and off, all in one day, and totally doubting everything the next day in the relationship. And there are really profound reasons as to why this is taking place. But if you are the fearful avoidant listening, or if you are the loved one of a fearful avoidant, I'm sure you must be curious about what the perfect relationship looks like through the eyes of a fearful avoidant. In fact, if you're a fearful avoidant yourself, you may not even fully feel like you have the answers to that question. So, in today's video, we are going to reveal the unique desires and also hidden fears that shape the way a fearful avoidant looks at an ideal partnership. We'll talk about why fearful avoidants feel the way they do in relationships, what that perfect relationship looks like, and how to more deeply connect with a fearful avoidant loved one through understanding this information. And if you are the fearful avoidant, my hope for you is that you can actually take this understanding and what applies to you specifically and use this to voice your needs more in relationships, communicate to other individuals what you're looking for so that you can feel seen and heard and considered and understood and loved in the way that you also need, just like you're trying to do that for everybody else. And if you stick around until the end of this video, I'll share a really powerful secret about the fearful avoidant attachment styles relationship dynamics that you may not have considered before.
The idea of a perfect relationship for an FA is number one, fearful avoidants tend to want a lot of passion and depth in their relationships. Now, this is for a couple key reasons. Passion, there's usually a subconscious comfort zone for what our earliest associations of love are. And passion, in a way, can be a little bit chaotic. And that can be a bit of an association made in the subconscious mind of a child when they have this like chaotic relationship. They're on the roller coaster with their caregiver. So sometimes the caregiver is really loving and present and available, and other times maybe they are struggling with substance abuse or alcoholism, or they're busy fighting with the other parent, or there's lots of chaos in the home, or whatever it might be. So, what often will take place is we try to mirror those patterns in our adult relationships. And while it's really important to have a certain degree of like deep connection and care and excitement and chemistry, a relationship is not supposed to always be at this high level, nor is it always supposed to be up and down the roller coaster in the hills. Our nervous system can't take that for a very long period of time. For decades, for example, like that's how we get into chaos, stay in chaos. And then parts of our always being on, always being in like sympathetic mode and at the highs and the lows, some of that can be really challenging long term. And it definitely does not get you into the stability, commitment, and then finally the bliss phase of the relationship, which is sort of the ultimate goal. So that's number one. Number two, depth. Really good. I think it's really great no matter what attachment style you are to have depth in your relationship. We want to know people's internal reality, not the image we have of them in our mind. And we have to come to know that by asking deep questions, talking about our wounds and our fears, and sharing our needs and our boundaries, and having the tough conversations from time to time. And that's how we go from infatuation to really true love, because we start loving somebody when we really truly understand who they are behind the image that we've often created of them in the dating and the honeymoon phases of the relationship. So very important, very healthy. But the interesting thing here is that the depth is often linked to survival for fearful avoidance. So usually if they could read and understand everything that was going on in their caregiver's life, it made them feel safe. And at a time when we were totally dependent on our caregivers for survival, it usually was linked to survival to a certain degree. The subconscious mind often builds in those subconscious associations. And so the depth might feel like it's such a necessity and such an important thing, because a deep, deep part of your subconscious is often using that to fill sort of the cup of like, okay, I'm safe. I can predict things. I can understand things. I have some certainty. I have some consistency when I really, truly, deeply know somebody. So there's a lot of tremendous and really beautiful, powerful benefits that come from this. But our relationship to it at the deepest subconscious level can often maybe have a positive outcome if we readjust that relationship just a little bit, where we're not always expecting everything to be the deepest, best conversation all the time. because there's sort of inherent pressure that comes with that as well. Transparency, right? Linked to the exact same things. FAs naturally expect transparency. They really don't like a lack of transparency. It sort of drives an FA a little bit nuts a lot of the time, again, because your attachment strategy wasn't like, oh, clearly my emotional needs aren't being met, so I will self-soothe, or clearly I must always depend on other people I can and I feel safe to and I can connect through them and soothe through them. There wasn't this like cause and effect. And so a lot of like your attachment strategy would literally be um I need to know everything and then I can figure out how to react and respond. And that's where some of that hypervigilance comes in, those sorts of things as well. A lot of FA patterns as well have this idea that because you're really good at understanding somebody's micro expressions and body language and putting meaning to things and catching everything, a lot of your subconscious expectations are that because you can mind read, other people should be able to mind read your needs too. And I don't actually mean mind read. The term is a cognitive distortion. It's this idea that we can, and sometimes FAs are really good at actually figuring stuff out and like really reading between the lines and often effective at it. But that doesn't mean we're going to be 100% correct. And it's not a good crutch to rely on in a relationship. What is a better alternative is to have the conversations if we have concerns or questions about something instead of jumping to conclusions, which the FA mind can often do. And then, we want to make sure that we're not doing that, which is another component of FA's perfect relationship. And we want to make sure we're not expecting that from somebody else. And often FAs will be so good at like mind reading and meeting somebody else's needs, and then when somebody doesn't meet your needs, it can feel really painful because it can feel like such an imbalance, such a like juxtaposition of like where both parties are at. But that doesn't represent the amount of care somebody has for you necessarily. It can be the amount of ability a person has to read between the lines. And you won't really see the answer to that and really know how much care somebody has until you communicate your needs, until you advocate for yourself, and then see how much the other person is willing to show up and respond when they have the clarity to know how and what it is that you need.
I just wanted to pop in here and let you know we are doing a 7-day free trial to the All Access Membership Pass at PDS, which means you get access to literally everything inside of the school. And this includes the 4 live webinars I do with our students every single week. And on top of that, you get access to all of our different courses. We have over 55 different courses on relationships, communication, boundaries, emotional mastery, guilt and shame, learning your needs, so many different facets that are really important to master our lives and feel really good about our lives going forward. And last but not least, there's a daily community event. We have trained facilitators and coaches who are in there doing that work, showing up to support you on your journey every single day. Please join me on the other side. Come check it out. See if it's a fit for you. I'd love to see you there. Go ahead and sign up by clicking the link in the description box below.
Absolute trust is another important one. And sometimes FAs will be like, if one little tiny piece of trust is broken, I have to run away from the whole relationship because I can't trust anything. And again, that can kind of come from a wounded place. So that's an important, it doesn't mean that we put up with stuff in a relationship either, but if somebody like white lies about like that they love your dress and they really only liked it a little, something like that, then we might want to have these conversations and work to better understand things because like it or not, a lot of little challenges are will come up like that, even in two securely attached person relationships. And it doesn't mean that somebody is breaking all this terrible trust. And we should definitely have like very, very strong, high moral standards for what we allow in a relationship and what we bring in. But we don't want to do the all or nothing thinking where we go, this one tiny thing happens here and that means everything, that's a wrap on everything now. So important to recognize a big part of the fearful avoidant subconscious comfort zone is to expect to love very passionately, but fight very passionately. Volatility is sometimes registered as love or chemistry or connection in the subconscious mind of an FA. That is so important to work through because almost every other attachment style does not have that same perspective. And so that can be really, really painful and detrimental to relationship dynamics. And then what's really important as well is that the FA, another subconscious expectation of the FA and the perfect relationship is that you will know when I need to withdraw and you will understand and you will know to give me the perfect amount of time I need. And then you'll know when to come back and give me physical affection after a fight and give me a hug and be loving and kind. And not everybody has that awareness of you and what you need. And not everybody has that same response post argument. Some people really need space to recover for a little bit longer after an argument, even securely attached people, more so than FAs if they lean anxious, because often then the fear of abandonment sort of kicks in and creates more activating strategies. And obviously, DAs are much more slow to warm up. And so we want to not personalize those actions in a really big way, but have deeper conversations about them, create compromises around um, disconnects like that. And that way we have healthier ways of approaching all of this. So I hope that all makes sense. And thank you so much for being here and for being a part of this community. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.